Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody to tonight's shiur. Tonight we are studying Parashat Vayetze. I'd like to thank again Meir Gabay and Joe Nahari for arranging the shiur. This shiur is dedicated to Nishmat Rivka Batshena Ruach HaShem Tenichena Began Eden. Amen. And we'd like to wish also Refuah Shalema.
If we can, Rabbi,
Yes.
Leilut Nishmat Saba, today it is Yosait, Rabbi Yaakov bar Rachel.
Okay, of course. Thank you for mentioning that. Also, would I wish Leilut Nishmat for the grandfather Saba Yaakov. What's his name?
Rabbi Yaakov bar Rachel.
Rabbi Yaakov ben Rachel, Ruach Hashem Tenichena Began Eden, Tiyeh Nishmatot Tzura B'Tzura Chaim. If anyone has any names to mention, please mention them. Also, want to wish Refuah Shalema for Chaim Tovim Arukim, Rabbi Elidam Bat Leah Malka, Elisheva Bat Sheva Bat Rivka, for Mama Tikva Roshni Bat Rosette, and also for my aunt Yael Leah Bat Rosette. Kelna Rifana Lehem, Fuat Nefesh, Fuat Aguf, Fuat Krova Lavo. We're starting tonight Parashat Vayetze. So I want to draw attention to an interesting episode, which is towards the beginning of the parasha. And Parashat Vayetze, it's one of the difficult parashot to speak about. Not because you don't know what to speak about, you have to choose what not to speak about. There's so many topics in this week's parasha. So many. But we're going to maybe start with one and touch on a few different ideas. Well, last week was Parashat Toldot, and this is like a continuation. What happened? Esav and Yaakov, the two brothers, Yaakov takes the brachot from Yitzchak instead of Esav. And then Esav gets very angry and he wants to kill Yaakov. And both his parents tell Yaakov to leave Beersheba and go to Haran. As he gets to Haran, what does he do? The first thing, he goes to the well to get water. And over there he sees, let's read the psukim. When he gets to the well, and he says, he's speaking to the shepherds which are right by the well. And the well, that was the meeting place where they used to give drinks to all their sheep, all their cattle. And then they said, she was a shepherd. Now, why would you give a woman to do the job of a shepherd? There were all men there. She was the only woman. And she came. Why would you do that? Go on, friends, what would you say? Why was Rachel the only woman who's there giving a shepherd, It's not a woman's job. She's the only woman there. Any suggestions?
No, we know that's how Lavan treated them. Also, it's the same with that's the house they came from.
She treated them what? As boys?
No, like disrespect them. He didn't really.
He had no boys.
He didn't really respect his daughters. That is true. Also, that was one reason. Another reason also is Lavan at this stage did not have any sons. Until Yaakov came to his family, he didn't have any sons. Later on, after Yaakov came, so he had bracha, he became rich, he had boys, but at this stage he had no boys, only girls.
But we know
that.
But we know that when in his father's house, they sent Rivka to do the job, although he was alive, Lavan, right? So.
Nachon, but those times, but it's different because Rivka went to just get water. She didn't came to water the sheep. Rachel came with the tzon. All the sheep of Lavan came with Rachel to the well to drink. It wasn't just Rivka getting, just a bucket of water for the house. So here is different. So here Rachel was the only daughter, or she was the daughter, and he only had daughters. And then what happens when Yaakov sees Rachel? ויגש יעקב ויגל את האבן מעל פי הבאר, וישק את הצאן לבן אחי אמו. He opens the stone, the well, and everyone waters the well. And then the pasuk says, וישק יעקב לרחל ויישא את קולו ויבך. Yaakov, what does that mean? וישק יעקב לרחל.
He kisses her.
He kissed Rachel, ויישא את קולו ויבך, and he cried. Now, why did he kiss her, and why did he cry? Gilad? Meir? Oh.
No, we know that he had nevuah. I'm not sure about the kissing, but he had nevuah that she will pass away.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why I cried.
Yeah, but everyone's going to pass away.
No, but she was going to pass away. Yeah, young. She was, yeah.
Yes, so Rashi says that he saw the Ruach HaKodesh, that she was going to die, and he cried that they wouldn't be buried together. Yaakov is buried in Ma'arat HaMachpelah, in Hebron, with all the Avot, with Leah, with Sarah, Rivka, but Rachel, she's buried in Bethlehem. That was one of the reasons stated by Rashi that she cried, that he cried. Another reason is brought by the Midrash. Midrash says very interestingly that why he cried, a different reason. He said that, listen, the stranger comes along to the well, and there's a young girl, and he comes along and he gives her a kiss. He says, what's going on over here? Excuse me, stranger. But next pasuk says, V'yagid Yaakov leRachel ki achi aviyahu. Listen, I'm her uncle. Ki ben Rivka hu v'taratz v'tagid le'aviyah. So he said the reason why he kissed her because she was his relative, he was his cousin. And the Ramban and Rabbeinu Bachai says she was young. She was very young at the time. She was a ktana. She was less than the age of 12. And they say that he kissed like Sefer Torah, just like he kissed his cousin, like he kissed a Sefer Torah. It was a young girl. It wasn't anything illicit over here. And the reason why he cried is because he heard people talking amongst themselves, very suspicious of him. And because at that time, since the time of the Mabul from Noach, where they all had illicit relationships, they all had Gilui Erva, and since then they were very careful not to do anything. He said, "Gaduru atzmam min ha'erva, mesha shelaka ha'olam." They were very careful. V'anshei mizrach gadurim min hakol. And then he said, "Listen, there was with this one girl, and all of the other men, and no one touches her. She's on her own." Comes along Yaakov Avinu, and then he gives her a kiss. So they all suspected of him. And he started crying. He said, listen, I'm innocent. It was a very innocent kiss. It was just like a child. It was for my relative. It was my cousin. I saw my cousin. That's why the next pasuk says, Yaakov Rachel ki aviyahu. And he cried. Now, I just want to see, what do we learn from this episode? You know, we explained why Yaakov kissed, and we explained why Yaakov cried. But what do we learn from that? So I'm just thinking about this, and maybe, I'm sharing with you. Everyone has their idea of what you learn from the Torah. First of all, if people suspect you wrongly, maybe it's a reason for crying. Because not only Yaakov cried, but the Torah saw it necessary to tell us that he cried. I need to cry if people suspect me. Even if I'm innocent, I haven't done anything wrong, but maybe there's something that I have done wrong. Maybe I'm crying that people don't see me righteous enough not to suspect me. And another thing I would say, I can't remember what I wanted to say. Okay, so let's move on. What does Rashi say? Rashi says another reason why he cried. Who learned Rashi this week? Meir?
Come empty-handed.
It came empty-handed.
Yeah. Sorry, I know it and I forgot.
Okay, so you tell me, the Midrash says, how can it be Yaakov goes empty-handed? He said, there's no way Yitzchak Avinu is going to send away his son to get married without money. He said, yeah, you know how it works. He said, how can it be send him out without money? there's no chance.
No, he remembered Eliezer when Eliezer came with Asar Gmalim.
Yeah, but the question is, how can he be said that he sent away without having?
No,
any money?
we know that Eliphaz took everything.
Oh, exactly. So Medrash says, "וכי תעלה על דעתך ששלחו אביו ריקם, אלא שקדמו אליפז." Who was Eliphaz?
Esav's son.
Esav's son, absolutely. Esav's son. And he said, אמר אליעזר עבד אבי, אבא היו בידיו נזמים צמידים. But Eliezer, the servant of my father, when he went to the Shidduchim, so he had golden jewelry and bracelets, צמידים, מגדניות, ואני אין בידי כלום האדם, anything. He says, of course, his father sent him out with gifts. He said, take this, whole luggage and baggage and all gifts. ולפי שרדף אליפז בן עשיו במצוות אביו, his father commanded him להורגו ולהשיגו. Esav commanded you, are you going to go kill him? לפי שגדל אליפז בחיקו של יצחק, משך ידו. Why didn't Eliphaz kill him? If you sent him to kill him, so kill him. Why did you take his money?
כי אני חשוב כמת.
Okay, so what? So what? But Esav told you to kill him. Kill him. Why are you taking his money?
He didn't want to kill him.
He didn't want to kill him. Why? Speak up, man, please.
He'd grown up with him,
Yeah.
so he
No, Eliphaz was the student of Yaakov.
He grew up in the house of Yitzchak. Okay, so here there's something very important to learn. I just want to introduce a question of Rabbeinu Tam. Rabbeinu Tam asked the following question. If somebody is commanded by his father to go kill, or to be Mechalel Shabbat, or to do Avodah Zarah, and it's a mitzvah that his father commanded to do, what does he do? What should he do?
No, we know that they're not allowed to, right?
Not allowed to. Why? Pasuk says, Aviv, if his father tells him, go become Tameh, you're a Kohen, maybe you should listen to him. Pasuk says, Ish imo ve'aviv tirahu, ve'et shabtotai tishmo, ani Hashem Elokechem. He says, because you are commanded, and your father and your mother is commanded to respect me, then you don't do. So that's why, so Eliphaz should not go and kill Yaakov. Kol hakavod for your kibud av, but that's not, it's against the halacha. So why should he try and do it? Why do you want to kill him? You decide either you want to kill him or you don't want to kill him. So here's a little bit confusing, but Rabbeinu Tam says like this, that, and you have to understand, Eliphaz had some level of Ruach HaKodesh. Where do I know that from? Iyov. Rashi says in Sefer Iyov, one of the people that gave advice to Iyov was called Eliphaz Temani. And Rashi says over there, because he grew up in the house of Yitzchak, so he wanted to do the mitzvah of Kibbud Av. On the other hand, he grew up with his father. Yaakov was crying to him. He couldn't do anything. So what should he do? So it says Rabbeinu Tam, he wanted to still try and have any idea to some way fulfill his father's request. So he came to Yaakov. He said, what should I do? So Yaakov said to him, listen, this is a way you can do for me. Take all my money, my jewelry, my clothes, leave me empty-handed, and then I'll be ani nechshuv kemet. So I heard today one of my friends tell me the following idea. He said, what's this ki'ilu? Ki'ilu nechshav kemet. So he said that Yaakov did very cleverly. Do you remember there was 4 types of people that is chashuv kemet? Does anybody remember the other 3?
Yeah, Metzora, Iver, ובלי
Very
בנים.
good. Metzora, Iver, someone is blind.
בלי ילדים.
Leprosy and no children, yeah. And the fourth one is somebody who has no money. Okay. So he makes a calculation like this. He said, Yaakov said, listen, Esav said, Yikrevu yemei evel avi ve'harga et Yaakov achi. When my father dies, that's what he said, Esav, when his father Yitzchak dies, and he'll be in Evel, then he'll go and kill Yaakov. So Yaakov says to Eliphaz, listen, Saba Yitzchak is still alive. Why is he sending you to kill me? So Eliphaz said, listen, my father Esav, he made the calculation like this, and he said that Yitzchak, because now he's blind, so he's iver. So Yitzchak is chashuv kemet. If he's chashuv kemet, then it's like kirvu yemei Eved Avi, and that's why the neder of Esav is done, and now he can go and kill Yaakov. So Yaakov said, "Listen, if he's got a neder not to kill me until his father dies." So he said, "Listen, if he's doing the pilpul of limud of iver chashuv kemet, so then also ani is chashuv kemet, and then just take my money." That's the idea I heard today. But let's talk about it on a bit deeper level, okay? Maybe give one more answer. The Midrash HaGadol says that it was a very easy persuasion. He said, really, Eliphaz, he wasn't a Talmid Chacham, he's not a Yireh Shamayim, didn't really want to save Yaakov at all. He was ready to come and kill. His father said, go kill, it's no problem, go kill. And you know how Yaakov convinced him? He said, listen, are you sure you want to kill me? He says, Kivin sheba lehorgo. Yaakov said, you don't want to kill me. He said, why not? Amar lo havo yodea sheyesh alenu shtar chov. We have an obligation, we have a contract. Because Avraham Avinu was told, Yodoa teda ki ger yeh zarecha be'eretz lo lahem. Okay, so for 400 years, we need to be slaves. Now, if you kill me, who's going to be slaves for 400 years? It's going to be you, your children, your grandchildren, yeah? It's not worth it for you. Listen, I got a better idea for you. Take all my money, take all my clothes. Then it'll be ani chashuv kemet. And then I will pay the bill of the shtar. And then me and my descendants will be slaves. And then Eliphaz accepted that. That was the bargaining chip. And that's what the pasuk says later on. I only had a stick. There was nothing with me. I had nothing on my back. No, nothing. So that we just gave a few explanations of Eliphaz. Now I want to go a little bit deeper into the understanding of the parasha and what's really the lesson behind it for us. Maybe just another lesson to take from here is that everything is to be paid up in the end. You know, a person can think he can get away with a few things, but you can't run away from God. You know, at the end of the day, somebody you're gonna have to pay. Says Yaakov, listen, you can kill me now, but you're gonna be slaves. It's not worth it. So there will be the slaves. Afterwards, we'll get eternal bracha for all eternity, the brachot of the Torah. But we see nevertheless that Eliphaz did have kavod for his father and kavod for his grandfather, kavod for his uncle, for the kibud. Where does he get this kibud from? Answer?
Esav.
Esav. How do you know about Esav?
The Bigdei Hamudot.
What's Bigdei Hamudot? Explain.
That he had special dressing to serve his father.
Yeah, very special dressing, exactly. Says the Midrash, Amar Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel, Kol yamai hayiti meshamesh et avi. That means I did kibud avayim, I was serving my father. All my life, all the days of my life. Velo shimashti oto echad mimea sheshimesh Esav harasha et aviv. Now we're talking about Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, who was Nasi Israel. He was the president. And he said, I didn't even reach 1% of the kavod that Esav harasha gave to his father. He says, Kishani shimashti et avi hayiti meshamesh begadim menukhlachim. You know, I came from the work. What was the work? The Bet Adin, my regular clothes. And then I used to make my father a cup of tea, give him some food. But my regular clothes. But if I'm going to a special event, I put on my nice clothes. Taking pictures, going to be in papers. Get dressed nicely. Esav harasha, כשהיה משמש את אביו, היה משמש אותו בבגדי מלכות. He used to wear special clothes to serve his father. Now I'm going to ask you a question, okay, Rabotai? Esav, such immense kavod for his father. And he served him with special clothes, even as Israel didn't even reach 1% of the kibud avayim of Esav. Not only that, does anybody know another explanation? Why did Esav send Eliphaz? If you want to kill Yaakov, why didn't you go yourself? Does anybody know? Why did Esav Only in 2 parashiyot later, Vayishlach, he comes with 400 men. When? When Yaakov comes back to Eretz Israel. But since then, he doesn't do anything. You know, where has he been for so long? It's maybe 30 years. So one explanation was so that Esav didn't leave Eretz Israel. Why not? Esav never left Eretz Israel because he was like his father, Yitzchak. Yitzchak was Olat Bima, never left Eretz Israel. Abraham and Yaakov both left. Yitzchak never left Eretz Israel. And Esav wanted to be like his father. So if Esav was so much like his father and so much respect for his father, then how come he's saying, Yikravu Yemei Evel Avi, and I will kill my father? You see, something is very disturbed by the Kibud Av of Esav. I'll give you another example. It says that he was Kibud Avayim, Kitzai Befiv, Tzad Oto Bedvarim. He says, Ech Ma'asrim et HaMelach, all these things. Now, at the end of last week's parasha, he said when he went to get married, Itchaten im Machlat, Machlat bat, I get this pasuk right? וילך עשיו אל ישמעאל ויקח את מחלת בת ישמעאל. מחלת, disease, that was her name. Ishmael called his daughter Machalat. And he went to marry her. Why did he go marry her?
But she was not Knaanit.
She was daughter of Ishmael.
But she was not Knaanit. Ishmael is not Knaani.
No. So why did he go marry her? He was already married way before. And Esav wasn't really makpid on Chuppah v'Kiddushin. Yatzad nashim miyad ba'alehen. And he was already married a few times. Now it says, Vayikach Ishmael, Machlat bat Ishmael. Why?
Because that's the age his father got married.
So also that's the age of his father got married. That was beforehand. So you're right. It says, a few psukim just before that, it says, Vayishma Yaakov el Aviv, Vayar Esav kirot benot Canaan b'nei Yitzchak. Another way of respecting his father. He says he sees that Yitzchak doesn't want to marry the benot Canaan, and that's why he sent Yaakov away. So he said, okay, I'm also not going to marry benot Canaan. So that's another respect for his father, not marrying benot Canaan. And when he sees that his father is not happy with it, he goes and does it. Another reason is, like Meir said, because his father got married at that age, he also getting married at that age of 40. Okay, now this was a chiddush for me, and this is going to be an eye-opening and turning point in the shiur. We've seen a few examples of the tremendous kibud avayim of Esav, that even Nasi Israel doesn't get to 1%. We see he asked him about Ech La'aseret HaMelach. We see he gets married again at the age of 40. He doesn't leave Eretz Israel because of his father. He goes and marries Benot Ishmael, not Benot Canaan, because of his father. Says the Hadar Zakenim b'Shem HaMidrash. Are you ready for this point, Nisibel? Vayelech Esav el Ishmael. You know why he went to Ishmael? B'shah shehoda Yitzchak el habrachot liYaakov. At the time where Yitzchak gave the brachot to Yaakov, that was a very major point, turning point in Esav's life, and he was cursed. He said, "Tza'aka gdola umara." He said, "Lelech etchaten el Ishmael." I'm going to go marry Ishmael, and then you know what's the plan? You look at the snake of what Esav was. Is there a way to mute the background noise? Please. Thank you very much. Okay, listen to this chiddush. He said, you know why he wanted to marry Ishmael's daughter? Nothing because he wanted to marry the daughter, and nothing because of his father, nothing because of anyone. He had a snake and a cunning plan. Look at Esav's polluted mind. I'm going to marry the daughter of Ishmael, and then I'm going to give him advice. What's going to be advice to my father-in-law Ishmael? La'og et Yitzchak. Go kill your brother. That means Esav's whole plan to marry the daughter of Ishmael was to tell Ishmael to kill his brother Yitzchak, to kill Esav's own father, Yitzchak. Why? He wanted the bracha of the firstborn. Ishmael, he's the one who's going to be he is the Bechor. Va'avi yirash hakol. Va'avi yirash hakol. Sorry, my father Yitzchak, he got everything from Abraham. Va'yeh goel adam. So if Yitzchak dies, it's going to be Ishmael. All the bracha of Yitzchak is going to go to Ishmael. Then I'll kill Ishmael, and then I'll get the brachot. He's not going to have anyone that's going to care about him, and I'll go kill Yaakov. I don't have to wait till Yitzchak dies. So he wouldn't dare to kill his father, but he would tell his uncle to go kill his brother. Shelo yaruni shum adam. And he carries on. At that time, when he had these thoughts, he went past the Bet Midrash of Shem ve'ever. And Shem said to him, Rasha, why are you having such bad thoughts? He said, how do you know? He said, the Kadosh Baruch Hu told me your thoughts. Hashem knows all your thoughts and your bad machshavot. And I already knew this from when you were born. Kishnei goyim bebitnech. Yitzchak and Ishmael. And you want everything for yourself. So Esav's whole idea of Yikrabu Yimei Evel Avi, שכל זה עלה במחשבתו של עשיו, שילך ויתחתן עם ישמעאל כדי שיהרוג יצחק אביו. And then, ולבסוף יהרוג יעקב, and then he'll get everything. And everything, of course, this was number Ruach HaKodesh. Rivka knew this, and that's why she sent away Yaakov. Now, how do you explain this? The number one master of Kibud Avayim, that even Nasi Israel didn't get to 1%. He wore special clothes. He didn't leave Eretz Israel. He got married the same age as his father. He asked him how to do Isur B'Melach. He married Benot Canaan. And now he says, I got a plan to kill my father, to kill his father. Well, what is he thinking? How'd you explain this? Kibud Avayim. Rasha, but he's praised for his Kibud Avayim. He's the legend in Kibud Avayim. He's the Grand Master. Mind-boggling, huh? We continue. In the brachot, when Yitzchak asks for Esav, give me the brachot, he says, Talecha. Pasuk says, Pasuk says, when Batasana kelecha talecha v'kashtecha. Go take your sword, your arrows, v'tzeh hasadeh v'tzudel litzayid. Yitzchak said, go get for me a tzayid, hunt for me a deer and bring me matamim. He said, talecha charbecha sana. Sana is an expression of, Rashi says, hashchaza, to sharpen. He said, sharpen your knife. Sharpen your knife properly. Why? He said, I want to make sure that the sakin of shchita is very sharp. I don't want to eat any nevelot. He said, Esav, be careful. Make sure you sharpen your knife. Make sure you give me kosher meat. I want mahadrin meat. I want. Make sure everything's halak. And he says, go now and take me from the sadeh. What's the sadeh? Sadeh is min ha'hefker. Tzuda li min ha'hefker. Velo min ha'gezel. He said, Esav, this is very important for the brachat. You don't give me anything stolen, not from gezel. You go get me from hefker. What does the next Rashi say? Esav, he didn't care. He said, let's outside Lavi. I'm going to bring whatever I find. And if I don't find side, I'm going to bring from the gezel. Rashi said, Esav was willing to bring from the gezel. Not only that, Yaakov, Esav didn't really care if it would be mahadrin or sharpen the knife. He said he didn't find any kosher animal. He went, he took a dog and he cut off his head. And he gave it to his father to eat the dog, the kelev. So Esav, not caring about kosher food, not care about not stolen food. And he comes to bring his father. Where's the Kibud Avayim? What kind of kavod is that? We're saying Esav was number one in kavod, and yet you're totally disrespecting. You want to convince Ishmael and heat him up. Says, listen, go get the bracha from Yitzchak. Go kill Yitzchak, then you'll get the bracha from Abraham. What is all this deception? How much is a rasha? What, such a liar, such a deceiving? And the Gemara praises him. Can I have some suggestion, please? Any ideas? Please, Mao. Yaakov. Chavod. No, okay.
Maybe Dafka?
Dafka what?
So,
Did he
given-
respect his father or he did not respect his father? That's what you have to. There's two contradictions. There's too many contradictions. Too many contradictions. He said he never left Eretz Israel kavod for his father. He got married at the age of 40 for kavod for his father.
It takes a certain amount of, well, either it's totally fake or it takes a certain amount of effort to change your clothes every time still.
Okay. So what's your idea?
So you'd say Dafka, that should be praised even more, not necessarily even more, but because he's such a rasha and this is such a thing of great effort.
Yeah.
It's like you have a murderer who does one mitzvah, which is like an incredibly great mitzvah, but it's the one thing he does.
Then you praise him for it. That's what you want to say. No, I like your other
there's
answer.
also
Your first answer.
There's also another hint that I found as
Go
to
on.
it is when Yitzchak says Akol Kol Yaakov.
Yes.
So Rashi says because Yaakov would say, "Please get up, my father," and Esav would say, "Get up, my father. My father should get up." So like it's not even the kibbud av there. It's not speaking very nicely even.
It's the way of speaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then maybe I don't know if that's exactly what I did because that's just how Esav spoke. Maybe you still see that he had tremendous respect in level. But you mentioned one word, and that's the line. You said that it was totally fake. It was totally fake, and in fact, that is what the kibbud avim of the Esav was. And if we just go a little bit deeper to understand this, it says, "Vayahev Yitzchak et Esav." Why did Yitzchak love Esav? Kitzayid befiv. He respected from his father. Now, if you look all of the times where it says that Esav had kavod, who did he have kavod for? His father. Did he have any kavod for his mother? You don't find anywhere he has kavod for his mother. There's no kibud em. Right? Torah says, kaved av tavicha ve'etimecha. Ish imo ve'aviv tirao. Your mother. One time it says first your mother, one time it says first your father, because you're supposed to treat them respectfully, both of them equally, mother and father. And Esav has no respect for his mom at all. You don't find that. Even when he says, Yikirvu yemei evel avi, he doesn't say, Yikirvu evel avi ve'imi. My poor mom, she's going to lose both of us. No, he doesn't care about his mom. Once her father's gone, that's it. Says Or HaChaim HaKadosh. Or HaChaim HaKadosh, he said, you know why he was asking about Masrin et HaMelech? He wasn't interested only to get Yitzchak, but not for Rivka. And nothing to do with mitzvah. There wasn't anything to do with mitzvah of Kibbud Avayim, and it wasn't even got to do with Akarat HaTov to his father. In the mitzvah of Kibbud Avayim is logical sense that everyone respects his father and his mother because they raised me, they gave me born, they gave me everything. Akarat HaTov says, no, that wasn't any calculation of Esav, otherwise he would have respected his mom as well. He says the only reason why is because Esav knew the power of his father for bracha. And he knew that Yitzchak Avinu, he was one of the sides of the Merkava.
Isn't it that women can see things differently than men? See things differently? They have a different
could be, but
outlook. You know, you can trick or you can trick, if you know what I mean. meet.
Rivka had a nevuah. She saw through Esav's trick, but
Yeah.
he actually brings it down. Ohr HaChaim HaKadosh says it could be that he was hiding it from Rivka, and Rivka didn't see it. That's why she didn't tell Yaakov. She didn't tell Yitzchak. But we see here that all of Esav was superficial. Why was Esav respecting his father? Not because of the mitzvah, not because of Hakarat HaTov. You know what the reason was? Says Ohr HaChaim HaKadosh. Because he knew that his father was a great man. He was one of the Tzad LeMerkava, Regel LeMerkava. The bracha of Yitzchak, he knew was for generations. It's not just a one-time bracha. It's a bracha for all of eternity, for all of future generations. He knew the power of his father's bracha, and he knew the power of his father's klala, of his curse. That's what he was scared of. It was all superficial. So he didn't really care about his father. Doesn't care if his father dies. Doesn't care about respecting him, really. It was all superficial, just for what? For personal interest and personal gain. It was all chitzoni. It was yadayim b'dei Esav. And that's what explains now everything. He said he doesn't care if his father dies. He would go and convince Ishmael to go call him off. It was just a poza. It was just a show. I don't care if I give him a dog to eat. I don't care if I steal and give him food. I just don't want him to curse me. I just want him to give me my bracha. No. That explains the episode of Esav. Why he sent Eliphaz to go kill Yaakov.
Yeah, but how do you explain Kasher Av Avich?
Well, what's the question, Yaakov?
How do you explain when Yitzchak called Esav? So
Yes.
please go and get me whatever.
Kasher Ahavti.
Yeah, as a lie. That means it's something that is done before. It's not the first time.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. So, of course, Esav used to respect for him. And he used to get dressed up for him and give him the best food.
No.
But all of it was for poza.
Food now. We're talking about food. Food. Forget the dressing and whatever.
Yeah, food. He used to give him food. But everything was a show.
I know, but he still gave him food, and Yitzchak at it. So he knew he knew something I don't know. I mean, the food must have been okay or not okay, because he ate it.
It could be the food was okay. Could be he gave him kosher food.
Okay.
Normally. The end of the last episode, he didn't give him kosher food. He didn't care. Could be in the previous times he did, but even if he did, it was all superficial and chitzoni.
No, the last episode is done intentionally because we wanted him to come late, so he took. That's why he couldn't do anything. He was desperate because intentionally there was a miracle for him to come late after Yaakov got the bracha.
Yeah.
So that's why he was desperate to get anything because he knew he couldn't get his what he was after. So that's why he got desperate.
But how do we then we explain the Rabban Shmuel Gabriel?
Oh, excellent. Okay, this is what I'm coming to explain now.
Also, how do you explain Esav's head winding up in the Marta Machpelah? If he's a total faker, then surely there shouldn't be any part of him that deserves to be in there.
Okay, interesting. I didn't think about that. Let's explain first Gilad's idea, and then maybe we'll come back to your question. I like your question. I don't have an answer at the moment. But I want to go a little bit deeper to understand really what are we supposed to learn from Esav? And what was Rabban Gamliel so impressed about? Nasi Israel, he says, listen, I didn't even reach 1%. And like Yaakov was saying, also, he did bring him good food and bring him kosher food. And also, what about us, our service of God? Okay?
Yaakov acknowledged is Kibud Avayim, right? When he returns,
yes, absolutely. He definitely acknowledges a Kibud Avayim. And he did it also for the purpose of the mitzvot. But here, when we talk about our mitzvot, the mitzvot that we do, is supposed to bring us closer to our Creator, closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We're supposed to be happy in the mitzvot that we do. When we're part of Asita V'ata Yashar V'atov, you do something good, you feel good. It's a good moment. Every Jew's life and religious life, okay, we wake up in the morning, We keep put on the tefillin, we do the tefillah, we eat kosher food, we try and do chesed what we can, we give tzedakah what we can, we learn Torah what we can. Now, all of that, what was the purpose for all of that? Now, we have to make sure that we're focused, that everything we do is to bring us closer to Hashem. And then that way, all our actions are all connected. It's all building up, right? What we did yesterday and what we did tomorrow is part of making ourselves a better person, more of a Dama Shalem, coming more closer to HaKadosh Baruch. That's if we do genuinely the mitzvot lishmam, l'shem shamayim. However, someone does not l'shem shamayim for ulterior motives. And there is a concept like this. It says in Zohar Kadosh, but Tid Lavo, in the time of Yemei HaMashiach, you have even people that are building synagogues, yeah? They're building a minyan or yeshivot, but not l'shem shamayim, just for their own private, personal kavod. Right? People can do even chesed organizations for their own kavod. There is a story of the tzaddikim that used to do special fast of Ta'anit Hafsaka, which was a fast day for 6 days straight, from Motzei Shabbat till Erev Shabbat, 6 days, no water or food, day and night. There are special tzaddikim did it, like maybe Baba Salih did it when he was young, or maybe Abu David, Yaakov, these great people. But there was one town where, I don't remember where it was, but it was a simple Jew did it, not tzaddik, not Talmid Chacham, and he used to do it. And every Shabbat, all of the people used to come and do kiddush and say, wow, what a tzaddik, it doesn't have, and he really did fast. And the Rav said to him, listen, you want to see that it's not l'shem shamayim? You know, one Friday night, don't go to the kiddush. Nobody goes to the kiddush, right? And no one came that kiddush, and the guy was broken, and then he couldn't do it anymore. Because the whole thing that kept him going the whole week, fasting and not eating, because he knows on Shabbat, everyone's going to come to the kiddush, everyone's going to clap and say kol hakavod, and that's all fake. And there's people who can go to Bet Knesset and do a long tefillah of Amidah, because it's just to say, oh wow, look at how he does a long tefillah. Or he can stay learning for a long time. Or do chesed just because to get an award for being the best chesed guy. Yeah, maybe a volunteer in Hatzalah. He gets the badge and everyone says kol hakavod. But that's not Judaism is about. It's not being fake. That's just, it's an emptiness. You don't feel fulfilled by that. Then you feel like Judaism is hey, why am I not enjoying the mitzvot? But I'm not getting the feedback that from people. You know, when my parents say, oh, kol hakavod, you did the bracha, you did Birkat Hamazon nicely. But what about Hashem? If every mitzvah I'm doing for Hashem, when I say shakol niya bidvaro, I'm thinking about HaKadosh Baruch Hu, then that's supposed to fill me up and make me feel good. But when it's all superficial, and it's like Esav, it's just fake. It's just to get superficial understanding of it. Superficial reward. So when it says Kol Yaakov and Yadayim Yadei Esav, what's Yadayim? Yadayim is external, something that you can touch, something tangible, something you can feel. Esav's whole Kibud Avayim was just to get the brachot out of his father. Whereas Kol Yaakov, Kol is your voice. That's something which is inside. It's pnimi. It's something which is genuine. You do it for the genuine, for the good reason of to get close to HaKadosh. You know, and that's what should occupy us. So when Nasi Israel said, I didn't get to 1%. So maybe I didn't get to 1% on the external level, exterior level, on the chitzoni side of it, when Esav did. But that's not what we're supposed to be looking at. Rahmana liba bai. What does it mean? Rahmana, HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants your heart. Where is your heart? Why do you do things? When nobody's looking, when you're at home and you're tired and you want to go to sleep, and then, okay, I didn't pray yet. Are you going to get up and pray? No one's watching. Just between you and God. That is the test. When you give tzedakah, when no one says, oh, Kolaka, how much money you gave, and there's no one that sees it, that's when you want to see how much you give. So this is the big lesson for today. You see, Esav, his Kibud Avayim was one side, but on the other side, he was willing to kill. He was willing to get married just to kill. Everything was just for the bracha. But we have to remember, we are Kol Yaakov. And that's what all is about. Okay. Now, is there any questions? Apart from Meir's question, which I do not have an answer at the moment. Meir asked, why did Esav's head get into Marat al-Mechpelah if everything that he did was just superficial? It could be, maybe there is some reward for Esav, even for being superficial actions, maybe. One of the reasons was that his head was the only part of his body that didn't do what all the rest of. But according to this Midrash, even his head had bad thoughts. I'm going to get back to you for that, Omer. Is there any other questions on this show?
No, not question. Just one comment, because you know that Rabban Shmuel Gamliel, when he referred to Esav and Kibud Avaim, he also looked at the Roms. So that's what he had in mind when he said it. It's not what it was on, because Esav was Mashul Edom, was Mashul to the Roms.
Yes.
At that time.
Romans,
sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
Romans. So he wanted to show that actually the simple Romans had tremendous Kibud Avaim. It was well known. And he wanted
really?
to, yeah. So that was one Perush that I read. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that comment. Okay, so maybe we have time just for a story. A tremendous story. I heard this week was the Hilul Yortzeit of the Marasha, of I think Shmuel Idlish. And I'll just maybe say a story about him. There's a very interesting story I read. A story that's written in Sefer Ahavat Chaim. Amazing story. Marasha grew up, I think he was orphaned as a child. Yeah. If you can please just mute the background. He was orphaned as a child, and he grew up, and nobody knew how great he was. Talmid Chacham. He used to learn up all night. Yeah, he stay up all night to study Torah, and he had Gilui Eliyahu Hanavi. Is there a way we can mute the background, please? Mayor, is the way that the host can mute all the mics? Thank you very much. Okay, so the story goes like this. The Marsha, he had Gilui Eliyahu Navi. Even one time, he said David HaMelech and Shaul HaMelech came down to the Bet Midrash of the Marsha to be judged, because Shaul chased David, and even then, in Shamaim, they said that the Bet Din has to decide, only the Marsha himself could decide. So the following story happened like this. There was two partners in business that lived in a town called Austria. And in this town, they were doing very well in business. There had a lot of ahava and shalom between them. And business was very good. And that's also a good, it's a good ingredient for successful business. If there's peace and partnership and shalom, that's kli machzik bracha. So they had a big business deal, and they were going to buy a lot of schora, merchandise. And they found out that in a town nearby, there was an almana, a widow that died. Her husband died, and he left her a lot of merchandise to buy. And she was old. She was a widow, a young widow, but she didn't have anything to do with all this merchandise. She wanted to sell it for cheap. And this was a business opportunity. We're going to go buy it. We'll make a deal. And then after the weekend, we'll sell it. We have time. We'll do the business. Make a lot of money off it. So they decided to travel together. They traveled together to this widow, and they made the deal. And this was like the biggest deal of the lifetime. And there was a lot of stuff, a lot of schora. They were very happy. Now, there was so much to take that they didn't have enough space in their luggage space, in their wagon, to take it back home, right? They didn't realize how much it was, how much merchandise. So he said, listen, we'll go back with the two wagons that we have. One of the partners will go back. One of them will stay here to look after the merchandise, to seal the deal. They had the money, they paid everything. But then the other partner will come back the next day with another wagon to take back the rest. That was the plan. Okay, so she agreed, they paid the money. So one partner stayed there. And the other partner went back. That night, so one of the partners, the one who stayed there overnight, he was by himself. And this widow, she was lonely. They were alone, both of them. And she wanted to do Avara with him. He was a young, good-looking man, boy, a good-looking man. He was a good-looking man, and she wanted to be with him. And he had Yetzer Hara. Yetzer Hara took over him. You know, it wasn't Yosef HaTzadik, it was Eshet Potifar, and he did Avera that night. The next day, the partner comes. Okay, listen to this story. This is written down. A great Maharsha. You never heard such a story before, I can guarantee you. Comes along the partner. They load up the merchandise. He pays. They say thank you. They leave. They're traveling back. Now he's singing and he's happy. And he said, "Hey, listen, what a business deal! You know, we made so much money." Now the one who did the Avera, he felt guilty. He said, "How can I did such a stupid thing? What was I thinking? For one night, for just a little bit of pleasure, for Yetzer Hara." And he feels disgusting and he feels so terrible. He was all quiet, didn't say anything, didn't do anything. Now his partner sees that he's all quiet. He says, "Hey, what's wrong with you? Why are you so quiet?" He didn't answer him. Nothing. No, he's happy. He made so much money. He doesn't understand why his partner is so quiet. He says, "Hey, listen, tell me. I can see something's wrong. I can tell. Tell me what's wrong." He said, "Tell me. I know what it is. Tell me what." Kitzur shiga auto. Yeah, he drove him nuts. He drove him nuts. He said, "What do you want?" He said, "Listen, I was alone. Yetzer Hara, she wanted. She made me do it. She this, said that." Kitzur, I did נכשלתי בעבירה. I didn't stand it. So his partner, he said, "Ma, just because of that, who cares? Ma, look how rich we are. We have so much money. Don't worry about it. Cheer up. Akol yeh tov. Nobody knows. I'm not going to tell anyone. Akol beseder." He said, "No, it's not like that. I got no ta'avon. I don't want to eat. I don't want to smile. I don't. What's worth this money for? What? You think all life is about money? Azov, I don't care about this money." He said, "Well, you don't care about the money. I don't mind taking the money if you want. I'll buy it off you, the Avera." As soon as he heard that, he got excited. He said, "What? You're willing to buy the Avera for me?" He said, "Okay, if you want, if that makes you feel better, I'll do it." He said, "Okay, let's write it now, the contract." He got out the paper, he started writing it down. He said, "You're willing to buy me the Avera off me? I will give you all of everything, my part of my share in this partnership business. I'm giving it all to you. I don't want one penny of hana'ah from this business deal." He said, "Okay, you want to shake on it? Let's shake on it." They shook hands. And that's it. From that moment, he was happy. He was calm. He was like, "Oh, amazing. What a deal." And then they both came back happy. One was singing. He said, "I can't believe I'm so rich. I just doubled my money by doing nothing." Shaking hands. And he was happy because he got the guilt feeling off of his heart. He sold the Avera. And they went both happily back to the city and both to the town where they lived. Now, you should know, I'm putting this in a private disclaimer, there is a concept of buying. There is a concept of buying machalot. You see, even in the Torah, Yaakov, he bought from Esav, the Bechorah, buying mitzvot and averot. There's ways to do it, but there's also people who do buying machalot, buying a disease. I've seen the Bet Din doing it in Yerushalayim. You know, they get some Arab, they offer him, 100 shekel. He comes in, "You willing to buy this machala?" And they do it. And many cases it works. There's ways to do it. Okay, they both come back to the city of Austria. They both live their life. Everyone has their family, their business. Now, so I don't know, maybe 17 years later, afterwards, one of the partners dies. Right, the rich one, the one who took the money, the one that bought the Avera. He's the one who dies. He dies, goes up to Shemaim. Okay, now the story gets spooky. He goes up into Shamayim, and the partner which did the Avera, he sold it, he went to sleep. He comes to him in a dream. And he sees his partner in a dream and he's all furious. And he says to him, what have you done? Look at me. I'm coming here and they're judging me. And they judge me for all my Averot. And then suddenly they give me Avera that I didn't even do. It was you did it. And they want me to pay for it. They're now giving me Gehinom for your Avera. He said, I want you to come here to Bedin and tell them that it was you the one who did the Avera and it wasn't me. I was not with the widow, you were with the Almana and not me, and now they want to be punished for your Avera. Come up here and tell them that. Now he wakes up and he's all sweating and he's crying. He said, what do you mean you're gonna take me? He said, I don't want to die. It's not my turn, you died. He didn't know what to do. He couldn't go fall asleep again. He comes to him again in the dream. And he said, I'm bringing you up here. I want you to come up here and tell the Beit Adin Shel Mala, you were the one who did the Avera. And the guy he's no way going back to sleep. He goes to the Maharsha. Maharsha was the greatest tzaddik. He had Gilu Eliyahu. Yeah. And he says to him, what should I do? He's haunting me in my dream. He wants me to come up to Bedin Shel Mala, tell him I did the Avera. And then he's telling the Maharsha, did you do it? He said, listen, I did the Avera, but he bought it off me. I paid a lot of money for it. Became rich from it. He said, listen, go to his grave where he's buried and request that he comes to my Bet Adin on a certain day and a certain time in a Bet Knesset, and we're going to do the Dion Torah over here, not in Shamayim. If he wants a Din Torah, come here. So, okay, the Maharsha says, okay. He went to the Kever. He did like the Maharsha said. He went with a few men. He was scared to go on his own. He said, if you want a Din Torah, come Monday, 12 o'clock to the Bet Knesset, in the Bet Adin, the Maharsha, he's going to judge and he'll decide what is going to happen. Okay. Now, at that time, you can imagine, a word went around the whole town. Everybody came to the synagogue. It was packed. No place to sit, no place to stand. You ever seen such a thing, a Din Torah, with somebody live, two partners, one live, one dead? So the Maharsha, he put a screen in the corner of the Bet Knesset for the dead man, and one side was the live man, and he was sitting on the Bet Adin. He said when 12 o'clock came, everyone was there waiting, what's going to happen? The dead man's going to come to the Diyun. He said they heard the wind coming in through all the windows shattering, and there was a noise, and they saw the sheets moving in the corner inside the synagogue, and they heard cries. And then the Maharsha called out and he said, are you here for the Din Torah? And he said, yes, I'm here. And nobody could see him, but everyone heard the voice. This is documented in Sefer Ahavat Echinam. I saw it written also in a different Sefer, Pirush Chovavat Levavot. Din Torah, one person live, one person dead. And this was the Maharsha, which was his Yortzeit this week on Tuesday, 2 days ago. He said, okay, let me hear what's your ta'ana. Okay, so let's start with you prosecuting first. So the dead man, his voice crying out, he said, listen, we did it, we went on business together, and he was on his own, I went back, he did the Avera, and now they're in Shamayim, they want to punish me for something I didn't even do. It was my partner did it, he did it, not me, I don't want to be punished. He has to come and tell them that it wasn't me. Okay, so the Dayan says, okay, now what do you have to say for yourself, partner? Is that true? Did you do the Avera? He said, listen, I did the Avera. It was my Yetzer Hara, but I felt bad straight away. I wanted to do Teshuvah. I didn't know what to do. He offered to buy it off me. I paid him full money in cash. We shook hands on it. We sealed the deal. It's his Avera. He bought it. He can be punished for it. He enjoyed the money, and now he wants to go back. I'm not paying. And they went back and forth. Each one was saying his ta'anot. He said, listen, I only bought it off him to make him feel good. I saw how bad he felt. I didn't really want to be punished for it. but I tried to make him feel good. Also, he was so upset. I did it for him. It wasn't for myself. And each one was answering back his whole kol ta'anot. How do you say in English, ta'anot? All his
claims, so arguments.
yeah, all his claims, all his arguments, they're going back and forth. Then, and you see they're all witnessing the voice crying. They're all crying. Is scared to see it, like a spirit crying out because of his punishment. Says the Marsha, Ani posek b'bet hadin. He said, because you bought the Avera with full money and you paid for it, you got it in money. And because of your zilzul in the Avera, that means you said, just one Avera, who cares? No one's going to see about it, no one's going to know, don't tell anybody. He said, you deserve the punishment. And the person who's alive, he's staying alive, you're not going to take him anywhere. And when he said that, there was a burst of crying. He cried and he cried and he screamed and he said, no, I can't believe you did that. He said, you don't understand. I was sure that when I've come here to the Beit Din today that you were gonna posek, you're gonna judge in my favor. He said, I'm here in Olam Ha'emet. There's no way I can do teshuvah. He's still alive. He can still do teshuvah. I can't do anything. I was sure you're gonna pass in my favor. And he started crying. He said, don't leave me like this. And then Marsha, when he heard that, he felt bad for him. And he said, it's too late. Once Beit Din is posek, once they pass judgment, you can't change it. But I'm going to do a tikkun for your neshama. And I will give the person who's alive, because it was his avera that he did, he will do some teshuvah. And when he does tikkun, that will also be easier for you. And with that, the Spirit said, thank you very much. You eased my sentence. And then there was a puff of smoke, filled up all the Beit Knesset, and then all the windows shattered and everything blew out. And that was the posek. And then he gave him his tikkun to do, and he did his tikkun. Unbelievable story, but what am I telling you about this story? What is this for? So we see, first of all, a person, even if he's nichshal in avera, all the time that he's alive, he has the opportunity to do teshuvah. Once a person leaves here, and everyone knows that the end of the day is coming, you don't know when it's going to be. And not to be mezalzel in any mitzvah, any avera. And if somebody feels bad and wants to do teshuvah, you encourage him. Don't make fun of him. Like this person, he made fun. Just a small avera. No, it's good that you feel bad. There's a way to do it. There's a way to do teshuvah. And if you did teshuvah, Hashem will accept you. Hashem wants. He doesn't want Hashem to die. He doesn't want Hashem to be punished. He wants us to change. So maybe let's learn that lesson, a lesson from today, also from Yaakov Avinu, to be the pnimiut, to do the mitzvot genuinely, not to be like Esav, which did everything in chitzoni, who was only exterior. And let's learn the lessons that we learned from today. And B'ezrat Hashem will become better people and better Jews. And there'll be schuf for Am Yisrael. I hope you enjoyed the show and thank you for listening. Thank you very much. If you want, everyone is invited for a few minutes of halacha. That was an amazing story, no? I read it such